All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Child Psychology Module number 6, Cognitive Development in the Middle Years. We discussed in Module 5 the preschool toddler years, and then prior to that, we have looked at in our last 5 modules about the growth of children as well as their cognitive development. So those 5 modules specifically looked at that. Now we are getting into something mostly known to be the middle years, and these years are known to be 7 to 11. What we will quickly be going over on the objectives of this presentation is that we will be looking at how this age group think. We will be looking at the concrete operational stage, of course, by John Piaget. We will be also looking at how the thinking take place during the concrete operational stage, and intelligence and the testing intelligence in children, and how to encourage cognitive development. So these are the 5 objectives that we will be looking at. So let's get into the first part to make it a short and sweet. The module will focus on child's cognitive development in the middle years that already talked about, known as concrete operational stage. Now, John Piaget, of course, to this stage, he talked about concrete operational stage. And during this stage, he says the children become more skilled and they understand information much more, both logically and in concrete fashion. However, children also struggle to grasp concepts that are abstract or hypothetical. So there can be a somewhat of a struggle when you put in a hypothesis out, or when you have an abstract view. And I have my personal experience because I worked with these population as well. And when I was teaching, I have taught elementary as well as middle school age. And I'm sure this theory of John Piaget might make much more sense. I'm not going to say that it's going to be in all of the cases, but definitely you find this to be majority of the time to be the case when you present a concept, an abstract or hypothesis. It's hard for them to grasp. So the children at this age can focus on complex situation and problems, and they can understand situations from several different viewpoints. This module we will look at closely at this period of cognitive development, which is again going back to the intellectual development, and give a detailed overview. So now, how children in the middle year think. Before we get into the explanation and the theories and all that, we need to look at how children actually at this age think. So during the middle years, cognitive abilities such as memory and concentration is improving significantly. Needless to say much more beyond that, that if in this stage, we know the concentration and memory is being improved, then obviously saying that how they think is being affected as well. So children have much more stronger attention span. They think more, they can remember information a little bit more, and not only that, they can remember it for an extended period of time. This means that they can actually tune out all of the distraction and focus much more on what is the task at hand. So the newly develop ability is a great importance to the classroom, to the teachers, to the learning, and more focused approach for their teachers and the schoolwork. And as mentioned, that their short-term memory is also goes through a vast improvement between 7 and 11. The children capable of viewing and remembering information much more. However, a younger child would struggle to stay at task, as many of you know that the younger group is not going to be at task for a longer duration, and children can and these young people can engage in a mental multitasking. They can focus more on questions at hand and talk, listening to teachers a little bit more and all that, answering questions, responding to questions, holding classroom discussions, and participate in classwork. So the children at this age have a systematic way of thinking about multiple things, and they have a sense of their inner world as well. So they do recognize that they have world within themselves, and these children are also improving in the problem solving skills. So now we'll be looking at the Piaget theory and the concrete operational stage. Term operations by Piaget is to describe the ability that a child has not developed yet, and also refers to the operations as reversible. Now, children at this age, in the concept of classification, which is the ability to group items according to features, they also engage in serial ordering. This is the ability to group items according to logical progression. And by reversible, he meant that physical and mental action can occur in different ways, in different directions. When in this stage, these children cannot think both abstractly and logically, but instead they are limited to concrete thinking. The latter is based on the real experience instead of the abstract ones. Unlike young children, children at this age do not use necessarily use make-believe stories, but they might do role play. Additionally, older children can understand the cause and effect and relationships, and they can understand science and math, and they can also comprehend stable identity, which is the concept where a person is consistent, and even when the circumstances are altered, right? So they can remain within that one identity, even the circumstances are altered. He knows who he or she is, even that the circumstances are altered outside during the role play, that they're not, even that they're playing a part, a role playing, they know the role play is not real for them, because they have their own identity. Obviously, at this age, they're hard to be misled. Unlike the younger children, Piaget found that there is a significant change in this way at this time in children's during thinking in a concrete operation stage. During the research, Piaget noticed that the children thinking process actually changed significantly during this stage. And according to Piaget, children who are at the beginning of this stage shows a concept called conservation, which is the ability to see how the physical properties remain, even the form and the appearance change. As you know, you might remember in module 5, I was listening to that module, and I think I called conservation as a conversation. But it is the conservation, because in that we talked about how younger group, if you pour liquid from one glass to the other glass, but the shape of the glass is different, the younger group may see the liquid being more than the other cup of glass, and then they may not know that it is the same amount. However, at this stage, they do understand the concept of conservation, that it may remain the same, even it's poured into a different glass or jar. Differing opinions. As with any theory, Piaget model has come under the heat of some of the modern researchers. So the modern researchers have taken some steps to provide example of how Piaget's theories about the cognitive development operation stage are not all of them are fact. One example of that comes from the Robert Siegler, who theorized the concept of conservation is a progressive concept, which means that the slow change instead of sudden change, as explained by the Piaget. So, and also other researchers have found the children develop by progression through a series of capabilities instead of series of stages. And additionally, these researchers believe that most children understand a lot more than what Piaget theorized. So, this is something that came regarding Piaget's theory of concrete operation stage. And obviously some of the researchers disagree with that. When training, for example, a younger child can perform many of the same things that an older child can, right? And modern researchers have also shown that the children are not as suggestible, concrete, or egocentric as Piaget theorized. And additionally, cognitive development is not only influenced by the brain development, but is also determined by the culture and the biological influences. And these are some of the examples that other researchers have brought to counter Piaget's theory. The middle years and memory. Now, school-age children are much better at memory, at remembering than younger children. Of course, as they have experienced more of the world. So, you know a little bit more because you have experienced the world a little bit more. So because of this, they have more experience to draw their conclusion and recalling the information. Older children also have mnemonic devices to memorize things, right? They have devices to help them memorize. They know how to operate a gadget much more than a child who is in a younger group. And that definitely helps them with their memory and overall brain growth. Children of this age can also remember more by participating in cooperative learning, where adult supervised education, which belongs to more of a younger group, it depends on the interaction with the child's peer planning, sharing, and supporting each other, right? So it's a little bit different. Children in the middle years also begin to show ability known as meta memory, which allows them to not only comprehend what memory is, but it also help them know that how long they can remember something. For example, meta memory can help child sense how much time he or she needs in order to prepare themselves for an English exam, for a math exam. Childhood intelligence. During this point of cognitive development, psychologists become very interested in the concept of child's intelligence. In this case, intelligence is the cognitive capacity that will relate to the person's adaptation, knowledge, and the ability to, of course, understand reason. As a child moves into the middle years, which is again 7 to 11, psychologists become more interested in the concept of intelligence or cognitive capacity. And again, this concept focuses on person's adaptation, world around them, and their knowledge and their ability to understand reason. Encouraging cognitive development during the middle years. It is possible to encourage children in the middle years in regards to their cognitive development, as this development is generally tied to learning. As children learn more, they become more knowledgeable, they become more skilled, they become more developed critically as their areas of the brain also develops. Parents and teachers can help children foster their growth by giving them the following opportunities, helping them do the following. Number one, you want to make sure you encourage reading. You want to make sure you teach them a new language, building in intrinsic motivation. When it comes to reading, reading is one of the best way to improve cognitive abilities. So you might as well take this as a wonderful tip by the researchers. Try to get them some time to read, because it helps children expand their knowledge, increase their language skills, and improve their concentration, because it actually requires different level of focus when you're reading than you're watching something. Teaching new language. Research also have shown that their learning a new language can improve cognition, including mental flexibility. And last but not least, building intrinsic motivation. Offer motivation in terms of praise and engagement. When children expresses interest in a different academic pursuit, you can help them improve their cognition. Lastly, in conclusion, cognitive development is the middle years built upon the development that occurred in the toddler and the preschool years. However, the growth during this stage is much more focused on concepts such as memory and intelligence, things that younger children do not have the capacity, the cognitive capacity to handle. My friends, folks, congratulations to all of you. You completed the module number 6 in child psychology. Good luck to all of you for the rest of the day. Have a wonderful upcoming weekend. Thank you so very